must have been a hell of a night last night. I poured myself out of bed in pieces and slithered down the hall to the bathroom. I crawled up to the sink and washed my face off in ice cold water. I leaned on the sink and stared into the mirror. There was a face looking back at me, but I don't think either one of us recognized the other. Man, it must have been a hell of a night last night. My head felt like the Russian army was living in it, and they were all running around in my mouth in their stocking feet. I had a black eye and a cut across the bridge of my nose. My jaw was a bit swollen, and I swear I had a tooth missing. What little remained of my body, and that didn't feel like much, was screaming at me for a cup of coffee, and I wasn't in any shape to argue. So I put the body on autopilot, stumbled blindly down the hallway in the general direction of the living room, ignored the big guy dressed in black who was sitting in my easy chair, sort of veered off into the kitchen. The word easy chair floated around in my head looking for something to latch on to. Man, it must have been a hell of a night last night. Now these days coffee is all trendy and fashionable, but I gotta think God in his infinite wisdom put that hardcore stuff on this planet for poor sops like me who check their brains at the door on Friday night only to retrieve them in a cup the next morning. Easy chair. Man, it must have been a hell of a night last night. I got to the kitchen, grabbed the can off the top shelf, opened it, and threw the complimentary scoop over my shoulder. I wasn't gonna need it. You see, some people like their coffee mild, and some like a breakfast blend. But I decided road tar was in order this morning. I threw in a handful, and then another handful, and then another handful, and then another, and then I finally hit the button, and it started going drip, drip, drip. Easy chair. Drip, drip, drip. Man, it must have been a hell of a night last night. Now, in times such as these, patience is one of the first virtues to go out the window. So I moved the pot and shoved my cup directly under that drippy nozzle thingy, and with one bloodshot eye, I watched the liquid lifeblood slowly drip, drip, drip directly into the cup until it was as full as I could possibly stand waiting for. I slammed the entire cup of freshly brewed salvation in one gulp. It burned as it went down. The top of my head blew off, and I saw stars as the Russian army started taking casualties. Easy chair? Wait a minute. 5 seconds later, I was standing in my living room looking at a tall, dark stranger sitting in my easy chair reading a Playboy magazine. Now, it's weird enough to have a stranger sitting in your easy chair reading a Playboy magazine, but the fact that he wasn't actually holding the magazine was severely taxing what little consciousness I had at my disposal. Miss October was just sort of floating in the air. Then the stranger would turn the page with a slow wave of his hand. I said, "Who the hell are you?" And he looked up at me over Miss October and he frowned and he said, "I'm your guardian angel, asshole." Then he started yelling at me and he said, "You realize I haven't had a day off since you hit puberty? Man, you are wearing me out." And I said, "What are you talking about?" And he said, "Oh, I don't know. How about 4 gin and tonics, 12 beers with whiskey chasers, a bar fight, some redhead named Dolores, and where the hell did you find a goat?" I said, "I don't remember no goat." He said, "The police department does." He said, "I am here to officially put you on notice. You got 24 hours to straighten up your act. 24 hours or else." And I said, "Or else what?" And he said, "Or else there might be a bus down on 7th Avenue that's got your name on it, and it might catch me looking in the wrong direction." I said, "You can't do that. Ain't you got some kind of heavenly contract or something?" He looked at me in a menacing way and growled, "We ain't union." 24 hours, he shouted, and then he vanished in a puff of smoke. Miss October crumpled unceremoniously to the floor. The Russian army was in full retreat by this time. I mean, honestly, there isn't much that can sober up a body faster than a death threat from a guardian angel. Don't believe me? Try it. But maybe he was right. Maybe I ought to take a bit of stock and trade in my life. I mean, you gotta grow up sometime, right? Take some responsibility. Tomorrow is a new day, Tomorrow, I'm going to turn over a new leaf. Tomorrow, I'm going to straighten up and fly right. Tomorrow, I'm going to turn down the path of righteousness and leave my wicked ways behind. Oh, but Angel, you better put on your dancing shoes, because tonight's going to be one hell of a night.